This is a public service announcement for all these haters. You know, if eating is your thing, you can go ahead and do that away from us non-eaters. I'm pretty sure there's a foundation or somebody that can help you. Eat it. And have a nice day. Chaz.
The real is standing. The real is starting to meet. Sir, so go back home and have some serious talk. Black Paul. Black Paul.
No justice? No peace. We done dying, folks. We done fucking dying, folks. Excuse my language, but I didn't commit to not cussing today. What I want you to know is, this brother just said something really powerful. The old Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, the village, the NAACP, the people from the streets, the people from Macomb and VZ. We all here, we all done dying, we tired of y'all shit, and we ready to...
Time is coming. The real is standing. The real is starting to meet. I'm sorry. So go back.
KCJM, the Joy. Oh man, what up? What up? What up? So, this is okay. Yeah, I'm tripping. All right, so this is a little bit different. All right, folks, I'm trying to walk y'all over to the new platform. All right, that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to walk y'all over to the new platform. I'm trying to walk y'all over to the new platform, right? Because we got to get off of Facebook, and I'm pretty sure everybody got, goddamn me, everybody got YouTube. Your kids on YouTube, you on YouTube, somebody on YouTube, and that's where we need to move to, because Facebook Live is trying to take our little ducats and our chips or what have you, right? So now that we've announced that we are now broadcasting live on our other channel now. What up, brother Greg? All right, you see what I'm saying? You see how easy it is to do, make the transfer? Tell a friend, tell a friend. We usually, look, you know how we do this. All right. So first and foremost, I want to say thank y'all for joining me on this new platform here on YouTube. All right. I know what y'all came for, and I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna definitely look what I titled the show. Look what I titled the show. Free watermelon and fried chicken. You know I'm coming with the package tonight. You know what I'm saying? Don't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. Share it, like it, subscribe for those of you so I can keep up when I do drop. I feel bad. I feel like I'm robbing my Facebook audience. I really do. I feel like I'm robbing them. But I really we really got to transfer over because Facebook on some whole shit and we can't do it over there. Is the watermelon seedless? No. Well, that all depends, boy. Which no, I don't know. The watermelon could be seedless. It's the first 15 people to show up will get seedless watermelons. Everybody else got to do the hard work. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So we're gonna take a minute. I know we've been on for a good 10 minutes, but we're gonna take a minute and we're gonna allow for the transfers to come in. Meanwhile, in the meantime, I want to say what's up to my new subscriber base. I appreciate y'all for joining me. A lot of this stuff, if you don't live in Alexandria, Louisiana, if you don't live in Louisiana in general, a lot of stuff you're not gonna be really able to relate to. However, you're going to be able to relate to it if you live in an impoverished area where there's majority black. If you live in a majority black city and you have a majority black local political base, then we're going to show you what's happening in our neck of the woods. And hopefully, if you can't relate, you'll take some of these ideas that we have, some of these questions that we develop over this next couple. Well, I guess we're gonna be on about an hour and a half, and yeah, hold on. We're going to get back to bound of business. If you would like to be included in this conversation, because we're doing a breakdown, if you like to be included in this conversation, uh, inbox me. Let me know, and I'll send you a link, and you can chime in. Uh, Miss Linda Bell, I definitely want Miss Linda Bell here. Let me see. Let me put Miss Linda Bell in the mix. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, let's get Miss Linda Bell in the mix. Cause I get the feeling Miss Linda Bell was there. Well, all of a sudden he's having brief with pussy. I don't know, baby. Listen, listen, baby. Miss Linda Bell, I'm gonna need your help. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need your help. Let me see what else we got here. Who else? 'Cause who else? Who else? Who else? I won't. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna bother none of the councilmen. I'm really not. I'm not gonna bother them. Although I could. I'll send one. I'll send one. I'll send one. I'll see if they up. If they up, then we, you know what I'm saying, we could probably get them on and have them explain some things to us. Cause it was a couple of times where where His Royal Majesty, the goddamn King Koopa up there, uh said some slick shit about District One. And I ain't like that shit because he knew that shit coming in. And the whole point of the matter is we've been saying get cameras. You know what I'm saying? And there's only so many ways you could say the same thing over and over again. Cause you know what I'm saying, we ain't for the repeat part. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Jock Roy be playing on people top. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna spend his top one good time. And he gonna stop playing with people. And today might be the day. But yeah, we're only doing the part one of the mayor's briefing because we're not going to get to part. I don't know. I think this might be a little faster paced because I admit I watched some of it earlier today, and you know, you know, I had my opinion on it immediately. I was like, I know this nigga did, and he did very disrespectfully. He did. So I'm gonna go ahead and I sent out the invites. If you come in, you come in. If not, that's cool. I'm not mad at you. Uh, Wait, what we got here? We got the mayor's briefing. All right, we got the mayor's briefing. Is the watermelon seedless? I feel disrespected by that question on the low, but you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to. Is the watermelon seedless? Should it be seedless? That's the question. All right, for those of you that don't know, what I do here is I am a political uh, uh, well, I mean, I'm a political observer more than anything, but I'm also an analyst, and I host this show called Send All Complaints. Now, there's two addresses. There's Send All Complaints to 625 3rd Street, and then there's 915 Murray Street. No, it's 625 Murray Street and 915 3rd Street. 625 Murray Street happens to be the place that we pay our utility bills to, right? So send all your complaints to the utility office because we were at that time we were talking about the utilities and how high they were and how much of highway robbery it really is, right? Now we're doing send all complaints to 915 3rd Street because 915 3rd Street is the current address of Alexandria City Hall. So whereas in the past we did get through our complaints, did make it through to the utility office, it resulted in the firing of Michael Marcotte. That's right, folks. We get people fired for real. Michael Marcotte was your former utility director, and now he's taken the money that he stolen from you. Excuse me, allegedly stolen from you guys, and now he's living pretty good, working at a power line company, which is awfully convenient because he was in charge of ordering power line and power line equipment for the city for a very long time. It's just ironic that the former utility director would find work or find the ownership in the job where he repairs power lines. I wonder where he got the equipment. I'm just saying. Let's see, folks. All right. So this is your mayor of Alexandria. His name is Jock Roy, right? To me, he's public enemy number two. Right in front of him is public enemy number one, being the wife of the former mayor of Alexandria, way back when we were still picking cotton, Ned Randolph. Ned Randolph's wife is named Deborah Randolph. She is the president of the local well, I'm gonna be careful what I call it here. It's the local chamber of commerce, right? So Deborah Randolph is the puppet master, and Jock Roy does her bidding, and all things flow throughout, right? And the green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around. All right. Hold on. Oh, it's just me. So that being said, I kind of want to take the time because I think you guys are owed that much. I want to take the time, and I want to go through the what's being said and what's not being said. Um, for those of you that are familiar with what we do here, it's going to be more of the same, and you're going to love it. All right. So share, like, subscribe, do all the things, and we about to get this party rocking, right? We about to get this party rocking because I watched a little bit of it, and I'm excited to share it with y'all. So,
just two main items on the agenda for today. There were no particularly controversial or complicated items on the council agenda. I think there's one item in committee, and we'll be able to explain that one pretty easily. On the agenda today is some public safety updates, and we'll have a good discussion about that today. The second major item is unauthorized uses of residential and commercial properties, which is a pretty wide scope or description, and it really relates a lot to some of the public safety updates today. So we're going to get into those, and we may mix them around A and B, but there are two items I would highlight, both the incident that occurred on Lee Street and some of the things that happened on Bolton Avenue that I think relate to unauthorized uses or questionable uses of residential and or commercial property.
now hold on one goddamn minute. Hold on one motherfucking minute. Now I know I sat up here and I left at least 30 damn goddamn comments in the comment section. You mean to tell me not one of them bitches turned the comments off? Them bitches turned the comments off. Boy, I tell you what, man. I'm talking about I went in. I was, hey, look, every time he said something that was just out of pocket, I was there to catch it. And I called them all kind of liars, man. I wish they turned the comments off, bro. That's crazy. I'm talking about y'all know how bad I get. All that energy I've been taking away from KLAB, I've been damn sure spreading that shit then around TikTok land. I've been spreading that shit around all other avenues of social media because, I pulled back from Facebook. And, man, I just really went in on this goddamn particular video, and they done erased all my damn comments. All of them. Son of a biscuit.
So there are lots of things that we all see on social media and elsewhere, whether it's an attempt to blame council members for crime or things that are happening in the city, or any single person or entity or pastors or anyone else, as though there's any person in this room who can predict where the next gun-involved incident will be, where the next person who possesses a weapon illegally in.
Boy, that boy is a goddamn. Hold on, let me go ahead and play my disclaimer. Hold on, let me play my disclaimer because I can't with this motherfucker. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Narcissists to avoid accountability when you try to confront them about something they've done. It stands for deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. They deny whatever you're calling them out for, they attack you for calling them out for it, and then they reverse y'all's roles where they suddenly become the victim and you become the offender. Looks like this. Hey, why did you lie to me about that? Lie to you? I didn't. You must be remembering things wrong because that's not even how it happened. I never once lied to you about that. Yes, you did, because you said something else at first and then you changed your story. What? You are so insecure. I can't believe you would accuse me of lying like this. You always create these stories in your head and then take it out on me. But I just feel like, no, what you're doing right now is exactly the problem in our relationship. You constantly just stir up chaos and try to start fights with me, and then you wonder why our relationship can't progress. If you keep this shit up, I'm not going to be able to take much more of it. And then you end up walking away from that conversation, questioning your whole experience and feeling like the problem once again, while the narcissist walks away from that conversation, avoiding accountability for their behavior, which is exactly what they want.
Authorized uses or questionable uses of residential and or commercial properties. So there are lots of things that we all see on social media and elsewhere, whether it's an attempt to blame council members for crime or things that are happening in the city, or any single person or entity or pastors or anyone else, as though there's any person in this room who can predict where the next gun-involved incident will be, where the next person who possesses a...
I need somebody up. I need somebody up here. Hold on. I need somebody up here that's okay. There he goes.
Okay.
Miss Queen Universal, I appreciate you for coming through. I'm expecting some more guests, but if nobody else comes through, can I curse?
Oh, this is your show. You can cuss all you want on your show.
I'm gonna run this shit back one time, and y'all want you to see if you want to curse with me.
For crime or things that are happening in the city, or any single person.
Hold on, you're gonna have to calm your background noise down.
Okay, let me mute myself. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. All right, hold on.
On social media and elsewhere, whether it's an attempt to blame council members for crime or things that are happening in the city, or any single person or entity or pastors or anyone else, as though there's any person in this room who can predict where the next gun-involved incident will be, where the next person who possesses a weapon illegally, in most of the cases that lead to trouble, is sitting today.
I can't say that I hate him, but I can't say that the way that he narrates this bullshit, I can't. He makes me want to like you ain't supposed to fight on elected officials, but if there was ever a time and opportunity where it was legal and I wouldn't go to jail for it, I definitely challenge him to a boxing match, or at least a thumb wrestling match.
Well, it's amazing, and if you don't mind,
no, by all means,
it's amazing how he's saying you can't predict what's going to happen at any time. But if you had your city protected with surveillance cameras, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Nobody's blaming council members. Nobody's blaming the preachers and all that. Nobody's blaming them. Okay, nobody ever said that. I don't even remember nobody saying that, because a council person cannot have that much power to tell people not to commit crimes. But cameras can, because they can avoid them from taking place. And if you're shooting somebody and you're shooting somebody in the streets and not in your house, because when you're in the house, nobody can see what you're doing unless you have cameras in there. But when you're on your streets, the streets that belong to the city of Alexandria, and you're out there shooting, yeah, a couple of cameras can catch the person who's doing it. Yes, it can. So nobody's blaming anybody about that. But I know that Van Dyke blamed the citizens, the victims of surviving this crime-ridden city. And we have been hollering about putting cameras up for a long time.
Two-thirds of all the comments that they erased off this video were all about Project NOLA and cameras.
Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was.
And
because
there's a part in here where he talks about how Ronnie Howard has a more important job of riding around the neighborhoods and looking at.
That ain't the
Hold on.
same. That's not the same.
Let me
That's
play it.
not.
Let me play it. You're gonna get more upset than I am. Go ahead.
And boy, what a cop-out that is, because what it does is removes the responsibility of all of us as a community to fight something that takes a community fight. It takes everybody in a community, including media partners and others, to be A, truthful, and B, curious, inquisitive.
The fuck did he just say, Mama?
Did he say something about being truthful and inquisitive?
He said it's gonna take the help of the media to be truthful and inquisitive.
Oh, that's what he said. Media. I thought he said.
Yeah, he's blaming the media.
Oh,
He's back to blaming the media.
oh, he's still
It
obsessed. He's
removes the
obsessed with the
responsibility
media.
of all of us as a community to fight something that takes a community fight. It takes everybody in a community, including media partners and others, to be A, truthful, and B, curious, inquisitive. Get to
Okay.
the root of things, why things exist.
We got to be truthful and curious as to the reason why
Things exist. Okay.
Okay, so first off, we're
Mhm.
not going to get the councilman on the line because I've already broken the nerd cursing code. But I wish I wouldn't have broke it because I could have had his point of view on this. But this dude has got to be out of his brain.
It's just amazing that he said that. That's just like, wow. Okay.
And for those of you that are new to this platform and don't know why we're harping on this, it's because we live in a city where we live in a city, or we exist in a city that has.
DARVO is the most commonly used manipulation tactic by narcissists to avoid accountability when you try to confront them about something they've done. It stands for deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. They deny whatever you're calling them out for, they attack you for calling them out for it, and then they reverse y'all's roles where they suddenly become the victim and you become the offender. Looks like this. Hey, why did you lie to me about that? Lie to you? I didn't. You must be remembering things wrong because that's not even how it happened. I never once lied to you about that. Yes, you did, because you said something else at first and then you changed your story. What? You are so insecure. I can't believe you would accuse me of lying like this. You always create these stories in your head and then take it out on me. But I just feel like, no, what you're doing right now is exactly the problem in our relationship. You constantly just stir up chaos and try to start fights with me, and then you wonder why our relationship can't progress. If you keep this shit up, I'm not going to be able to take much more of it. And then you end up walking away from that conversation, questioning your whole experience and feeling like the problem once again, while the narcissist walks away from that conversation, avoiding accountability for their behavior, which is exactly what they want.
You're so right. He still
And-
seems to keep hunching on KLB for some reason. He keeps going after KLB no matter what.
He wants KLAB shut down. He wants he wants us shut down. Yeah, the goddamn social media. I'm so sick of the damn as soon as I log in, it's goddamn this, it's goddamn that. It's motherfucker this, it's motherfucker that. I'm sick of this shit.
Some of the ones you read with particular sort of curiosity yourself, if I thought that the election of a person, whether it's a president, a governor, a mayor, or a council person, could end crime, we'd have a pretty easy solution for all this.
Well, it's called cameras, jackass. It's called fucking cameras, you dick. Excuse my language.
And it's so crazy. It was a news interview that was done by the guy who owns Project NOLA. And one of the things he said, the guy was asking him, are the cameras really working? He said they have a 99.9% that the cameras catch people in the last 2 years. He said they have not had any problems catching criminals in the last 2 years. And that was on an interview, a news interview he did maybe about a week ago. So we know the cameras work. No, I believe this is my deal. He has made so many deals, and him and Mark Woods have all these informants.
Hold on. We got to clarify because we got a new audience tonight.
Okay, I apologize.
Okay, so Mark Woods is the local sheriff who's just as dizzy as the mayor.
Exactly. Exactly. And just as corrupt.
and just as corrupt. Yes.
Just as corrupt. So if you have competent informants out there, right? And you put those cameras up, you'll put them out of business.
Well, he's gonna hold on, because I don't think this one's gonna take us long because we already 2 minutes through it. All right, so this one ain't gonna take so long. I'm gonna try to get through half an hour of this show, and then
Okay.
we'll do the other half tomorrow night. But listen, because he's gonna get to the part. I made it to it, so you can too.
Okay.
But crime is multifaceted. There are numerous causes that lead to it. But fortunately for us, we do have quite a few of those isolated. We know what they are, but undoing them and changing it is very, very difficult. But again, it takes the responsibility of the entire community. There are a few places where that starts, in classrooms, somewhat. Teachers aren't the insurer of what communities can do with kids. The place where
What is he talking about?
I don't know where that came from.
You see, and I'm so sick of these people with these excuse my language, mama. These motherfucking word salads. There's just root beer cherry soda, Coca-Cola products. Lime is actually a lemon, but here's the thing. A lemon can't be a lime. Lettuce is a vegetable and it's a fruit depending on how you eat it. You see? And cheese is a dairy product, but it's got to be pasteurized first. What the fuck are you saying, man?
I guess he's trying to add in that teachers don't have a what do you want to say? They don't have a control over a child that has behavioral problems.
Yeah, no, that's totally, we understand that part. We get what a teacher does, Jock. And you're not over the school board either, bro. You're the mayor of a city.
Yeah.
So just kind of like stay in your, hold on, let's see how far out his lane he goes.
most starts is at home with your parents or your caregiver or your guardian. It doesn't start with government being able to stop it. It isn't government's fault if children, and in many cases it can be, children are doing this. And government can't predict the next domestic violence moment. But government, if it's doing its job, can do focused deterrence, and government can learn patterns and hotspots and try to be preventive that way. And we've talked about all
stop.
this many times.
I'm sorry.
Here.
Stop for just one moment. So you just said that government cannot predict when certain things happen. That's not true. That is totally not true. Because that's why when a black child starts to act up I think it's the 4th grade.
No, they have them already picked out by kindergarten.
By kindergarten at the most, right? Statistically, I think it's 4th grade. But that's not the point. The point I'm getting at is, yeah, the government does a lot of predicting. That's how a lot of things are getting done and undone, is because the government is predicting situations that's dealing with crime. Okay.
So that's not the government's job. Okay. It's not the government's job to predict crime. All right. We might have a pre-crimes division, like in Minority Report.
Yes.
Speaking of that.
Yes.
But overall, it's like Gregory Scott said. He said it's the same excuse they have every time crime rises. Y'all not raising y'all kids right.
Yep. It goes back to the home.
Now, are we saying we're doing good things? We are, because sometimes crime does go down. That means you guys are raising your kids right. But as soon as it starts to go up, hey, some bitches, your kids.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, but go ahead. I apologize for that.
Government can also play a role in the early interventions and early investments in children's lives that hopefully make a corner be turned toward the good.
Like how they all advocated for those prisons to be built, right? Remember, they just got done trying to get $58 million so they could build a never mind. We forgot about that already. They just did it last election. Never mind.
What it
wanted to
can't
send
do
me
in
to
many
prison, by the
cases
way.
is where kids are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and I still call them kids, some of those things that are happening. And there's no amount of camps or government-sponsored events that are going to stop that because those folks aren't interested in going to that. So
It's the smirk on his face that I want to smack the shit out of. That's what it is. It's the smirk. When he smirks after he says something really racist or something he thinks he got away with saying in front of people, that smirk that he has on his face, that's the shit I want to smack. That's it. That's it. I'm not saying I'm violent. I'm not saying I'm Billy Badass. I'm not saying I'm super tough Eskimo Joe. I'm not even Macho Man Randy Savage. But if I was, oh yeah, that man would get the shit smacked out of him. Yeah.
So, Tanya, you got a summer full of things happening that we push out and try to get out, but aren't always covered. I just want to thank you for doing that and your team, and I know the council does too. And we'll keep reporting those, and I know how many kids we're serving, and I know it makes a difference because you hear from those parents.
Can you tell us how many people got served out of the Restore program? You know that program that you came up with that robbed all the people and made the community responsible for paying for your little parties downtown and shit? Or can you give us the details on the data breach? Because you could give our details. You can see how many kids went to the summer camp. Hell, you could even count how many people came to the River Fest. You got drones and shit. You can't tell us. You can't tell us what happened with the data breach. That's crazy work. It seems like you're trying to cover something up. So for y'all that didn't know, a couple years ago, when there was another mayor, we had a data breach. And the quote unquote data breach, they took our city and held it for a ransom for $8 million, right? First things first, the crooked mayor just came straight to the city council, called an emergency meeting, and said, hey guys, I need $8 million. Mind you, the person that found out that we were hacked was the director of utilities, not anybody in the IT department. It was your director's utilities who was about to quit his job, right? Because he said he didn't want to work for a black person because we had finally elected a black mayor, right? Even though he's white on the inside. Oh, by the way, Mom, they got a new name for those. Do you know the new name for the people that are like Jeff Hall?
Why do you do that, Henry McCall? Why do you do that?
You know the new name?
Why do you do that?
It's called a coconut. And they're brown on the outside and white and milky on the inside. Yeah. Yeah, I learned that from TikTok. Shout out TikTok. So yeah, Jeff Hall, our coconut mayor, basically tried to rob the city while nobody was looking during COVID. And it didn't work out the way they wanted it to. So before this guy came into office, he had developed a plan to replenish and restore the utilities back to their former greatness. But the problem is he came out with this plan a year and a half before he was elected. Matter of fact, it would seem as though the breach and the plan worked hand in hand. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, that happened a few years ago and they've completely brushed it under the rug. And we've been looking for an update on that for what, how many years now?
About 2 or 3 years now. About 2 years now.
Yeah, so we've been trying to figure out what happened. We've been
But
trying to
have
figure
you-
out what happened for like 7 years now.
Okay, so you have to look at the idea. The reason why we talk about utilities is because our city, Alexandria, owns its own utilities. So they don't fall up under the Public Service Commission. So we don't really have anybody that we can complain to because it's privately owned and it's owned by the city itself, which is a terrible, terrible setup. Because the only person who can do anything is your mayor, is the city of Alexandria. No one else can do anything for you if you get into a bind or something happens. We own our own utilities, so it keeps everybody out. And in other words, they hold the people of Alexandria is held hostage through the utilities, because on top of that, the utility is 60% of the revenue for the city. So majority of the money that comes in through utilities it actually funds the city. So it's a real bad setup. And we have
60% of the city's annual
revenue.
budget is funded
Yeah,
by the utilities.
it's funded by the utilities.
And so
So it's
they have a marker that they have to meet in order to meet the threshold of what they need. So at any given point in time throughout the year, if they feel that they're not getting enough out of y'all asses through the utilities, what they'll do is they'll crank up the rates on y'all and then say that, hey, look, we got the lowest rates in the South. You know, we're just right a smidgen below Texas. You know what I mean? Don't worry about that. Overcharge. I didn't overcharge you a goddamn thing. We've got people that come by and eyeball your meters. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Brother Greg says, don't forget our mayor is also psychic. He developed a plan to help those affected by the breach before it happened while he wasn't in office. Bing bong.
That's funny. That's funny, Greg. That's real funny.
Well, let's hear him talk some more.
Parents and those folks involved. And that's appreciated. And also know that on our public safety updates under our community services officers, it's a
Oh, we got a flying unicorn just walked in. Did y'all see that? It was a tight shirt wearing unicorn just came in. He just fluttered in, tippy
I
toes.
know how many kids were served, and I know it makes a difference because you
He
hear from
floated
those
in
parents
like a true
and those folks
fairy.
involved. And that's appreciated. And also know that on our public safety updates under our community services,
It was a fairy. I'm sorry. It was a fairy. He's a baldy. Yeah. It was a fairy.
officers, it's another place we're making that investment and intervention. And so we get a lot of questions about that, but only from one medium in the area asks about it. I'm not sure if there's, just I would challenge anybody, you can go Google that practice and you'll find that the Dallas model, the Philadelphia model, all the models that everyone says to emulate that we're doing involve a huge amount of civilianization of police departments.
So he's gonna get into this big thick piece about excuse my language, mama. About this damn community citizens police brigade. Yeah, you get oh man, that was another dig I took. I told them people, I said, yeah, you get all the stresses and dangers of being a policeman with none of the protection. I would erase that shit too. That's pretty funny. I would erase that shit too. I was on one because I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, this man really saying all this shit. Talking about he was a fairy, he was a baldy with a belly. You ever heard that song, Mom?
No,
I would play it, but I probably. Oh wait, I'm not on Facebook. I can't play it. No, I can't. I'm not gonna.
No,
play
you can't. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play it. But yeah, there's a song called it's the fairy song. And when I seen that DPEC member stroll in, he's looking like a big belly fairy.
Were you talking about the infamous Stephen Shark?
Oh, he was a fairy with
Oh,
a
no.
belly and a baldy.
Moving people out of the badge and gun into civilian roles for IT, IS, all of those kind of things, evidence and data gathering, et cetera. And that does relieve the ability, as we talked about at the last briefing, and create force multiplication, which I won't repeat. We talked about it last time. Force multiplication is any notion at all, whether it be equipment, persons, or technology that allows what a police officer could do by him or herself to be multiplied. So it could be cameras. That's a form of force multiplication. It could be.
Oh, it could be cameras or it is cameras there, champ.
Which one? Look, which one?
Yeah, which one is it, champ?
Make up your mind.
Yeah. Well, the second.
Drones, big new form that is well used. It could be other equipment. It could be IT equipment and programs. It could be software. All of those things are part.
He's been leaning a lot on the IT equipment and programs. I think they cooking something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep mentioning that shit like it's really just what's up, bro. It's not what's up, bro. Cameras will help. Cameras will help.
Community service officers are a huge one. So you're able to take part-time folks who will be trained, who will have a full background check. It's what we call a triple background. So it's not just a normal working for the city. It's a police level one. And then they will go through an academy catering toward that. They will not carry a weapon, as we've gone over. We're going to bring it.
So they gonna be crash test dummies with no seatbelts. Yeah, I'm just gonna send them people out there with some training,
We're
with some
just
training
gonna
and no guns.
look. We're just gonna We're just gonna
Yeah.
we're just gonna use them as crash test dummies.
Yeah,
That's
we
it.
gonna use them crash tests. No, you go out there. Yeah. They selling. They dealing drugs? Oh no, who is it? Oh, really? Well, we'll be over there in a second. Just find some place to hide, motherfucker.
Knowing doggone well they ain't going
Yeah.
nowhere.
You out of pocket, bro. Out of pocket. Out of pocket. He said, "Yeah, we gonna send them through some type of training. They're not gonna have no guns though."
That don't make no sense.
Hold on, bring it back.
Background check. It's what we call a triple background. So it's not just a normal working for the city. It's a police level one. And then they will go through an academy catering toward that.
You know what the fuck to say. So first off, you finna send these people through all this background check just to get shot by a nigga stealing the bike.
That's not right, Tavares.
That's not right. That shit ain't right.
That is not right what you're saying.
Oh man, talk about I mean, they're gonna be like police. They're just not gonna be police. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, how can I explain it? You know how like them people on TikTok say they're police and then they tell you a whole bunch of bullshit? That's kind of what they're gonna do. They're not really effective, but they've got the title.
We'll give them the title.
We'll give them a
Make them
title.
feel important.
Yeah.
They will not carry a weapon, as we've gone over. We're going to bring it back in front of the council again and show you exactly, Mr. Fowler, what they are. We've done it twice now, I think, but we'll keep doing that. But we have 10 about to go online on top of 2, or there'll be 10 total.
So
10 total.
where's the camera?
So there's no, so
The words of Stephen Chart. Have you ever felt stupid?
I thought.
Oh my God, Greg, you remember that? Oh my
I
God,
thought
he
people
remembered
forgot
that.
that, bro. I swear to God, I thought people completely. You ever felt stupid?
Oh
You ever
my
had somebody
God.
call you dumb? Well, I need your help. I need you to vote for me. Stephen Thought.
Oh my God, you remember that?
Hey, bro, that is crazy. Hey, that was epic. I ain't gonna lie. That was
that was
you talking
epic.
about campaign videos that was just off the hook. That man was walking through the backyards of somewhere in between somebody's house by a ditch. And that was the scenery. And he was just walking real slow, looking at the camera, talking about, have you ever felt stupid? Have you ever been called dumb? Well, join me. I need your help. Doctors, nurses, babies, cameras, doctors, hockey players. He just started naming random shit. And it was like, you know what, Greg? You know what, Greg? I think you too deep in them trenches.
Yeah, you too
too deep in
deep.
them trenches.
You got to come up out of there.
We talked about a dearth and a shortage of folks wanting to be full officers right now. We are not having a shortage of people applying for this position, which is great. So
I believe everything you say is opposite, bro. That's what I believe.
They don't want to be cops, but they. I don't want to be a cop, but I'll be a civilian.
Yeah, no, I don't want to put on the vest, and I don't want to carry a pistol or nothing. Just send me out there with a fucking cardigan and a goddamn whistle and a rubber badge. I'll do the best I can. I'll do the best I can. I'll bust all these drug rings for you. What, part-time? Yeah, fuck yeah, part-time. Yeah, I'll do this shit part-time.
Oh my God, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Hey, but it fits right in. Free watermelon and fried chicken. Yeah, you get unlimited lunch breaks, and it's got unlimited fried chicken for you.
To give folks an idea of how seriously we take this, it can sound like you're making an excuse when you point out all the things you can't do to stop the next violent incident.
It's called cameras, bro. Do we need to put Project NOLA on? She said I missed out on the good old Jockey Road Sparks lights. No, you haven't, baby. We ain't even made it. You know we gonna take forever to go through this shit. We this one's going a little bit faster. We 7 minutes in. But Miss Hattie Piper, if you don't mind, we'd like to send you through some type of training. And we like to, do some stuff where you can be like, a policeman without a badge and without a gun and without handcuffs and without a police vest, without handcuffs, without a whistle. We just kind of want you to yell with everything.
Yeah, we just need you to yell.
We'll give you a walkie-talkie. How about that? We'll give you a walkie-talkie.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
But I do get perplexed and surprised that people think that a person can. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me logically, but what I can tell you is we've gone through a few just now at home, right, Doc? We've gone through community things we can do to curb it before it starts.
And you've only mentioned cameras one time, bro. He says you don't have to be an elected official or know anything about politics to know that cameras. It's kind of like a duh. You know what I mean?
It's a duh moment.
Duh.
But what I can also tell you is it's about following rules. That's a huge predictor once you get into early adulthood and adulthood. And a lot of what we're seeing is the breakdown of the community. That's why I started out with it takes a whole community to do this. It takes everybody participating. That means following zoning laws in your neighborhood. That means reporting crime and what you.
Speaking of zoning laws, how about that gerrymandering shit y'all pulled last year?
That's right.
Wink, wink.
And anybody, let me say something. Anybody who's new to this, to learn who our mayor is. This mayor is on his 4th term. He has been the mayor for ever since 2006. I think was his first time coming in. This man has been elected over and over again. The only time he was not the mayor is when for 4 years we had our first African-American mayor of a predominantly black city.
He was a coconut.
He was a coconut, but he was the only one. They turned around. I'm saying they, because we did not elect him. They put him right back in place again. This mayor came right back. Do you know everything he's talking about is actually stuff that was done when he was in office? He do not care about the poor neighborhoods. Okay. He doesn't really care about the crime. Okay. He says that he's a Democrat, but he's really a Republican. But he plays, this is the game that they play a lot of times with politics.
Hold on. I got you.
Oh, no, I want an answer to that because that's your slogan, Make America Great Again. When was America great for you?
Okay. That is, American great is our freedom.
Freedom. Your freedom? Or all of our freedom?
Everybody's freedom.
Everybody's freedom. So
yes.
when was America great for all of us?
When our forefathers.
Forefathers. The ones that own people?
No.
Which ones?
You have to look at the history. You got to look at the history.
I am. I'm asking you. Which for? George Washington owned 300 people and went after a few of them for running away. They signed a constitution that made black people, enslaved black people, 3/5 of a human being. I don't think it was great then. If you're asking me, a black woman.
Right, but you have to understand our history to get where we are today. What's happening is our media.
No, Jackie, because again, if you can't walk me through the greatness of America and how you want to restore it to a place where it was great before, your whole argument falls apart.
Now, I want y'all to keep that in mind, and this is just to my TikTok homies. That's my line of thinking when I engage in conversations with people that I don't like. I'm trying to figure out what makes you think you're going to really one up me. But I kin that to this.
You know about it. That's a huge obstacle for us. The trust, this is again multifaceted. Not just a lack of trust in police, but it's also just a lack of, I don't trust anybody. I'm not getting involved. What if I were retaliated against? And then there's just the worst version of all is just absolute, not my problem. It all becomes our problem when we breach these social compact rules. So we're going to talk a little bit about zoning and unauthorized uses of commercial and residential property, because in a few of these big cases, that's what's leading to it, Mr. Millard. That's what's leading to a lot of problems. And so I quit using the broken window theory because I think it's a little more than even that. But, you know, loosely, if you want to call it the idea of entropy, if you will, something is allowed to be not in good shape. Then someone comes along and throws a rock through the window, so it's less in good shape. Then someone comes along and catches part of it on fire, even less so.
Wait a minute. How do you know these are the things that are taking place, champ?
My thing is, my thing with him is, okay, you're saying all this, but you have been in office when all these things have been happening. Our crime rate is high because we don't have the proper people doing their job. We have so many people that get away with stuff that is crazy. Everybody is so interconnected. These are the setbacks of small towns. Setbacks of small towns is when a lot of favors are being done. And some people can repeatedly break the law and do what they want, and they have a way of getting out because they know somebody. And especially when it's around election time, you can guarantee you a lot of stuff gets done around election time because people want that vote. Candidates want that vote. So they're going to do whatever it takes to get that vote. And he plays us every time he runs.
It takes a little whoring out to get the vote.
Yes,
now.
it sure does.
You got to whore yourself out a little bit.
You got to whore yourself out. And what's bad is we have African American sellouts that make it even
you
worse.
can't really call them African American if they're a sellout. You know what I mean?
I got you.
You don't got me. I got you. You know what I mean?
No,
Surprise.
No, you don't have me because you already know me and you already had conversations already.
And so on and so forth until no one cares. And then people in the area start to feel, well, no one cares about me either. No one cares about my neighborhood. And all of this has an effect on how we feel about our neighborhood. So what do we do to
Sir, did you just draw out the guidelines to how you treat black neighborhoods in front of us?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what it sounds like to me.
He didn't have to cut it up or nothing.
No, he doesn't. That's why he gerrymandered.
Jack Roy, the mayor, scapegoated. Hell no.
Darvo is the most commonly used manipulation tactic by narcissists to avoid accountability when you try to confront them about something they've done.
I'm not going to play the whole thing.
battle that? Well, you want to beef up the relations in your neighborhood. And we do that through Safe Alex, another force multiplier.
No, it don't. No, it don't.
We get asked about Safe Alex, again, just by a few that I think it's certainly not about neighborhoods and the people who benefit from Safe Alex. They're not the ones talking about it, but the Safe Alex.
Who are the people that benefit from it?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are they? Where are the people that benefit from that program, that force multiplier?
All I know Safe Alex ever did was give out fire alarms.
Well, let's see if we're going to talk about that.
Alex crew is back there, led by our commissioner. We also have our former police chief, whom we still call chief, but Chief Ronnie Howard's back there.
Oh, that should make him feel good. We still call him chief. You know what I mean? We might have took his job away from him, but we still call him Chafee.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, we did that.
Hella disrespectful. Hella disrespectful.
These guys are out every day running down what we would call neighborhood leads. They're looking at the things that make the quality of neighborhoods break down. We have a former officer, Johnny Parker, who is well known in the community and operated in this regard before it was called Safe Alex through the department.
So he just told you he has this team of law enforcement that does their own thing when they need them to.
Mm-hmm. But remember how he got Safe Alex too.
Well, also remember that Safe Alex comes out of the tax dollars. And the same thing that he's talking about Safe Alex does, cameras can do.
Exactly.
For
And do it.
cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's funny that he put Van Dyke and Red, the former chief, over Safe Alex.
But I
That's
thought,
funny as hell.
but Van Dyke is leaving. Didn't he retire?
I thought he was going back to work at the Civilian Police Academy where he could continue his nefarious shit.
I don't know. I thought he was leaving.
Don't tell me you don't know about them APD freak offs.
I don't, sir.
Okay.
Years ago, a single position that was sort of a neighborhood relations or community relations position. So this is much more beefed up now. I meet with Safe Alex every week. We are now in a rotation where after my regular staff meeting every week, we meet. It's not been less than an hour lately that our meetings are, and we go through a whole lot of what's happening. Mr. Charles Frederick Smith, a longtime councilman, heads up the neighborhood component. Chief.
Now,
Okay.
for those of y'all that are new to my platform,
Oh Lord.
and for those of y'all that don't know about why we go so hard and why we've been around so long, well, let me introduce you to our coon. What do you call it? The coon identifier.
Yeah.
So we have this machine called the coon identifier, and it identifies coons. And we it's like the Pokemon thing where we keep an index of coons. And that way we always know when it's time for anything to be cooning, we know that it's going to be a certain set of people. Now, these coons include Stephen Sharp, Roosevelt Johnson, Reddix Washington, Jack Hinton, Brandon Odom, Danny Lair. Like, just there's more people there in that coon category, right?
Charles Frederick Smith.
Charles Frederick Smith is the OG coon.
Yeah, he's been in it for a bit.
Yeah, he's the one that changed the coon game.
Yeah.
And he showed Roosevelt how to coon.
Yeah.
Because they was on the council at the same time.
Yeah.
So the cooning got out of hand, right? And all of a sudden, it's just a whole slew of coons. Now, some of them coons have died off, thankfully. Some of them have, stopped cooning. And it just, they reserved their life to being trash pandas. What'd he say? Coonacha. Jock chooses you. Like Pikachu. Coonachu. I choose you. We're gonna throw this coon over there. It's Coonazor. This is Roosevelt Cooner. And yeah, he throws Pokeballs and whatever. But yeah, we have identified many coons by name, including Patrick Van Dyke, who used to be a police officer. He used to be over the training department at the APD, but he got himself into a little bit of trouble. Allegedly.
Over at the academy.
Over at the academy. Okay, the APD Academy.
Yeah, the police academy.
Got himself into a little P. Diddy trouble over there, apparently, allegedly. And so now he's not doing that job anymore. But like with all good coons, no matter what you do, master will find you another place to be. So
Yeah, instead of getting rid of you.
instead of getting rid of you, master will find you a new place that you can be.
Yep.
And that's what master did. Master found him someplace he could be. Now, people are going to argue with me like I care about whether or not I'm wrong for calling these people coons.
Who said something?
First off, I don't care how you feel about me calling them a coon.
If
If you
that's
feel
what they
too
are.
deeply about it, you could be a coon too. I don't care.
Because majority of them are.
If it's on your list to get on my shit about goddamn who I'm calling a coon, you too can be a coon if you want to be.
You can be set in that number.
You can be set at fourth in gold in the giant cocoon as a coon. You coon.
Howard, heads up the component.
There it goes. It was a fairy. Hold on, let me scroll up. He already put it there. It was a fairy. What? It was a fairy with a belly and a bald head. What? Sorry.
Component that has, I guess, a little more look at violations, codes, and those kind of things. And so with those two together, and I'll talk a little bit about Shannon's role in a minute on data and the social service side, this is a real force multiplier and additive to our police department. Our chief can tell you, our commissioner knows this, who works with fire and police every day. The chief sits in our meetings, oftentimes a deputy chief as well. He has 2 deputy chiefs, and we stay very coordinated in our efforts. And again, we're going to tie that into residential and commercial property and unauthorized uses of those. Shreveport recently talked about, I guess I would call it they called it a squatter's law or a squatter's, ordinance.
You know what? I'm surprised at you, Jock, because you know an awful lot about the laws and stuff that be happening in other cities and towns around Louisiana.
Exactly.
But the funny thing is, when we told you about the renters' rights registry, or when we told you about the renters registry, it's like you fucking just shut down. You didn't give a damn about what nobody was saying about anything. And that's a statewide mandate.
Yep, it's a statewide mandate to have a renters registry.
And you don't have one, Jock. Why don't you have a renters registry in your city, Jock? I don't want to be controlled by nobody. You know what I mean? Mr. Villard? See, the thing is, once you take yourself out of a place, you're no longer there. You just can't be 2 places at one time, is what I'm saying. And once you separate yourself from being there, you're no longer here. And Patrick, the thing is, shredded cheese is the same thing as sliced cheese. It's just in thinner pieces. You see? And there's 2 ways we could do this. We could do it with a grater, or we could do it with a knife. Either way, it cuts the cheese.
It can be done.
It can be done. Now, I know there's some people out there on social media that's going to say some things like, well, we've got the wrong grade of cheese, and it doesn't matter if it's government cheese. Is it cheese or is it not? And I like to think, Judy, that the conversations that we have lead to somewhere productive. But I can understand if it doesn't, because some people just don't like cream cheese. Some people like cream, some people like cheese. But most people don't like cream and cheese put together.
You're terrible.
We have lots of things already in our ordinances that don't allow you to squat in a home that is not yours. But there are some very specific things we could do to help our folks in the field develop more calls as they approach a home. So if you think about it, Jim, when you go to a house, you're at the highest constitutional protection of an individual when you approach that door of a house. If you're not there chasing someone into the house, or you have a warrant, right? If you are lacking.
All right. So this was the part of the show where I was like, what the fuck is he? Excuse my language, mama. What the fuck is this guy saying?
Okay, so wait. So let me ask you this. So is he saying that a lot of crime is happening in the squatters where people are squatting? Is that what he's saying?
Well, let's see.
Those things, and you go to that door, and you're just going to try to develop you suspect something, you're going to try to develop cause. That's your lowest watermark of authority as an officer when you approach that home. And so there are ways that you would develop more suspicion that could lead to probable cause, right? Because
So you're all about developing suspicion. You've been talking to your black cops, huh? Haven't you? You're like, well, if it ain't enough suspicion surrounding it, let's create some. You know what I mean? It don't gotta be suspicious when we pull up, but it's gonna damn sure be suspicious when we take off.
Well, that's what it sounded like he just said.
Because remember, what can you not do going in the house without, what do you have to go in that house? A warrant. And warrants are only issued on what? Probable cause. Probable cause, not.
You got to create the probable cause. That's what you got to do.
That's what it sounded like he just said.
Hey, damn, Jock, you're not supposed to be giving him the game like this, bro.
That's what he sounded like he just said.
Is this what the fuck they teaching at that police academy?
Or
Them people gonna get laid the fuck out.
That's the Royal Academy.
No, that's the Royal Academy. Them people gonna get laid the fuck. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I'm cussing up a storm. Them people gonna get laid the fuck out. Excuse me. What is you knocking on my door for? Oh, this is the community policing organization. I'm officer. What? Nigga, the community policing? Where your badge at? Well, we don't get badges. If you don't get the fuck off my porch.
Reasonable suspicion, probable cause. So if someone says, wait, what? Sometimes you don't have to have a warrant. There are exceptions. Hot pursuit. You're chasing someone.
Hey, who's he in the room with? Talking about, well, you don't need a warrant to do all that. What do you mean a warrant? You don't need a warrant to kick somebody's door in.
But the problem with that is, you, like you said, Tavares, everybody ain't gonna just say you can knock on my door and I won't kill you. Okay,
Man, I'm finna lay you out. I'm
Yeah.
finna be on a display till Christmas.
I'm about to put some cold,
They have evidence that can be gotten rid of real easy, flushed down the toilet, whatever, called evanescent evidence. It goes away. That could be one. Regulatory exception. You seize a car incident to a valid arrest and you inventory the car and find things. You didn't have to have a warrant because you're protecting the car coming into the warehouse or whatever.
Okay, hold on. Stop. So now you're telling me he's a cop?
Well,
I'm trying to figure out what his role is.
What he's describing is dirty police tactics. That's what he's describing dirty police tactics, which it makes me wonder who the fuck is he even talking to.
I'm just trying to figure out he talking like a cop.
There's some things, okay, that we can do. So say for instance, someone robs the McDonald's on MacArthur, right? And you get the call and you come off 28 West and you're in a hot pursuit. And you might be a sheriff's, right? But you don't operate normally inside the city limits. But on this particular case, if that call leads you to a drug house,
you can go inside.
I say, pursue him.
Yeah.
Pursue him until you find out what it is that he's doing. And when you find out that he's not doing anything, you plant a dirty cheeseburger on him. That way you can say he stole it. He stole it, and he's a thief. He's a goddamn thief, and you take him out of his car.
You say a dirty cheeseburger?
You take him out of his goddamn car, and you beat the shit out of him. That's what I recommend. But can we do that? No.
Oh Lord,
not at all. And Paula, you know these things. Once we pull you over, your ass is technically mine.
Oh Lord, that's crazy.
That's how Jock Roy talks to us. And Paula, you know.
That's somebody incident to that arrest, and you and you do things, you can find things. That's an exception. So there are lots of exceptions we've all heard of. Then there's the big one we all should know, right? Plain view. You see a crime committed, you don't need a warrant there, an arrest warrant, because you're seeing it committed. With plain.
You know what you need to see a crime committed? Say it with me, folks. Cameras.
Exactly. Cameras will take care of all that.
Cameras. That's right, folks. That's right. Cameras.
Plain view came another version, plain smell. We all know what that one called for the last many years until, I guess, some legalization of some of those things. The plain smell exception is pretty widely used.
All he's got to do is say, see, he's going through all of the dirty cop tricks. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to it. He's telling you all the ways that cops gain entry into your home and into your vehicle, and all the ways that you end up going to jail. They proceed to antagonize you until there's a probable cause. That's what he described in the first part. And now he's saying we can always pretend like we smell something. But I know here recently that the Supreme Court has said that the smell alone, the smell alone isn't enough, isn't a probable cause.
Mm-hmm.
But he's telling you he's getting all this shit from Van Dyke.
Yeah, Van Dyke is probably telling him.
Yes, that's where he is. He's getting all this bullshit from Patrick Van Dyke.
Everybody knows what that one is. So when you approach a house and or let's say you're just a person, you live in the neighborhood, you see one of your neighbors and there is a pile of stuff on that porch and it's a code violation. The code officer walks up to that house. They're not a police officer. So but they are allowed by law, Chuck, to go on that property when they see an open code violation. Now, let's say the code officer walks up on the porch and sees.
That's crazy. That's crazy that you should say that.
No, wait a minute.
Where was all this code enforcement when it was Bethel Apartments?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Where was all this code enforcement when the place that y'all was supposed to be responsible for was completely it was damn near roach infested, rat infested, roof caving in. We got pictures. Of course, we're the Sunlight Housing Alliance. We have pictures.
Yep.
But where was your code enforcement then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Y'all were getting paid Section 8 subsidies, so y'all didn't give a fuck about none of that. But
Exactly.
these houses that you're trying to take over, you're trying to put them down as blighted so you can take over as much property as possible.
Mm.
Yeah, Jock is he's showing you how they're about to start taking your property.
A pack of syringes that look to have been used. Could that be that a diabetic person littered on their own porch? It could be anything, but does.
Oh, what did he say?
What? No, say that again.
Or let's say you're just a person, you live in the neighborhood, you see one of your neighbors and there is a pile of stuff on that porch and it's a code violation. The code officer walks up to that house. They're not a police officer. So but they are allowed by law, Chuck, to go on that property when they see an open code violation. Now, let's say the code officer walks up on the porch and sees a pack of syringes that look to have been used. Could that be that a diabetic person littered on their own porch? It could be anything, but does it create another layer of suspicion in someone's mind? Perhaps it does, right? So what these squatter rules would say is when you have certain code violations.
So you're saying that people can plant stuff on other people's property and get the code enforcement involved?
That's what it sounds like.
He just described planting something on somebody's property.
He says, "What if you walk up and see it?" He didn't say plant it.
But I mean, who's put it there?
Well, that's what he's trying to find out as the code enforcer.
He's not trying to find out who put it there. He's trying to violate you.
Open code violation. Now, let's say the code officer walks up on the porch and sees a pack of syringes that look to have been used. Could that be that a diabetic person littered on their own porch? It could be anything, but does it create another layer of suspicion in someone's mind?
That's how you escalate suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
set them up.
Yep.
Perhaps it does, right? So what these squatter rules would say is, when you have certain code violations, if you think there's someone in that house who's unauthorized, it gives you another level of protection to look into it. We're dealing with some pretty severe problems, and I don't have time to unpack it all today, but I will. If asked, I'll take you through exactly all the things that can happen on that porch. But the main...
Why would we need to know what could happen in your imaginary story? You said you'd take us down a rabbit hole that you created.
Yeah, we don't want to go down there.
Yeah, we don't want to. That's not an important rabbit hole, sir.
No, no, sir.
If anything, you're trying to keep us from paying attention to something else. Look like
You sound like a distractor.
a distraction.
The idea I want you to leave with is, each piece in that puzzle leads to a new question for an officer that ultimately you want to get to. The code officer being able to go back, interface with police, and perhaps develop probable cause.
All right, so boom, there's your setup. So I feel like, all right, so check this out. There's a property on my block that I want, and it's abandoned, right? Or they just haven't been put on the blighted list yet. Right?
Okay.
So what
Gotcha.
I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dress up like Reddix Washington, who wants all the properties that he can get his hands on. Right? I'm gonna dress up like him, and I'm gonna go drop off some dirty syringes over there. Right? I'm gonna drop some dirty syringes off right by the front door. Right? And then I'm gonna call code enforcement and have code enforcement go over there and look, and then as per this stupid ass example, those dirty syringes is going to lead to those code enforcement officers communicating with the law enforcement. The law enforcement is going to start watching that house like a hawk. If they don't already know who's over there, they're going to start watching that place like a hawk, eventually leading to a point in time or a place in time where they can seize control over that house. Let's see where it goes.
And do we want to do that at just any house? No. We want to do that in houses where there's a suspicion, or you openly can see that folks are in that house. Maybe there are burn piles in the house. Maybe it's obvious your neighbor went into a nursing home, and now there are people in the house you've never seen before.
What kind of shit is that? Is he talking?
I don't know, because that sounds like really wow.
That sounds like if they're in a nursing home, that looks like a free home, don't it?
Yeah.
That looks like something that nobody owns anymore, and we're gonna take it over. Or if they're in a nursing home, more than likely they're the family of the people. So why would that be suspicious?
Yeah. How you going? See, you're too damn nosy. You all up in my business to see if Clyde at my house. What are you looking for?
Those are all things that lead to issues. But when you're in that house, the question for us is, you can knock on some doors, and without the right circumstances, the person answering the door does not have to tell you while they're there. The police do not have a right to force them to approve their authorized use, inhabitants, even just being in that place, in that home, right? So this is a problem. Was it always a problem in our communities? Yes. Is it more pronounced than ever in communities across this country? No question. Statistically, it is. And we're having that issue. And what we want to develop is stopping those issues. So that's one category of things that...
So you want to stop people from legally abiding in their homes?
That's what it sounds like to me.
So we're trying to cut that shit out because you don't belong in a house. You know what I mean?
What?
You don't belong in a house. I want to thank everybody that's tuned in, bro. I don't have as many viewers as I would normally have on Facebook, but I don't know if y'all watching me from Facebook, and that's why I'm not seeing the numbers. But I want to appreciate y'all that's tuning in right now. Sounds like I'm clowning, but this is some way deeper level Jim Crow era political shit that we going through right here.
You're going to hear us talk about with some changes to our code. Ms. McGills and I went through it with Safe Alex. We've been doing it for about 2 weeks, working with them, listening to them. What are you seeing out there? What is code enforcement seeing out there? And working with our chief of police. We think there are some pretty easy changes that we.
So what he's turned Van Dyke and Safe Alex to is they're the top snitches. They're the payroll snitches.
They the payroll snitches.
They're the payroll snitches. Hattie Piper says that's some bullshit.
We can make to the code to help, like adding syringes itself to a list of violations. Doesn't matter.
See, now we getting into the territory where we can make up the shit that we want to
violate you from. Yeah.
You see this? These bread twisted ties? These shits are dangerous to seagulls. So yeah, we see one of these on your front porch. We got permission to enter. These little paper clips. You see this shit right here?
Matter if there's an innocent explanation. If you have syringes out on your porch, that's a problem. That's a danger, and that could lead to the ability to keep developing calls and deal with some of these problems. So, why?
I don't know what he is about these syringes, but he's
why
stuck on
bring
that.
all that
Yeah.
up? Because it's all related
Hey,
to the breakdown of
Laura, real quick.
communities.
Sorry. How do why can't I pick you up on on your Facebook page?
Because I'm not on Facebook, my love. I'm on YouTube.
Oh, well, you didn't tell me that. Okay, go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
That ultimately leads to the most severe form of violating the social compact, which is what? Murder, killing people, killing each other, shooting each other, committing great bodily.
You pewing each other, Jock. You pewing each other. TikTok friendly language only. I will boot you from this chat.
Harm upon each other. So in zoning, we have, in our commercial zoning, lots of things that aid us. We have an ABC law that helps us with an alcohol beverage control board. If you are involving in your home, your residence, in a neighborhood, a commercial use of your house, as in, I live in this house, it's a single-family dwelling, and now I've decided to convert my house into, I'll allow parties at my house to charge people I don't know to come into my house for a fee and use my house, my swimming pool, my whatever, as a commercial purpose.
Okay, that sounds like Airbnb.
It sure does sound like an Airbnb.
Let's see what he says about it.
Does anyone think that's legal in this room? It's your house, right? You do what you want with your house, right? Can you do that? No. Okay, so why not? What do you think makes it different? And that type of that I just gave, what makes that not okay?
Nothing. It's perfectly legal.
You can do what you want in your own home, but see, the
in
thing
your own
is,
home, right?
the thing is, it is the ideal that if somebody gets hurt in your home, something happens, that's what your homeowner insurance comes in at. I'm not trying to take away from the ideal that somebody can get hurt. You have to be the person that's responsible enough to monitor the people
It's
that are in your home anyway.
Why is he stepping into
Yeah.
your home?
Why are you overstepping your boundary? Because that's a dictator. A dictator needs to know what's going on in your home. A mayor doesn't.
Apparently, he knows. He's about to tell you a story you ain't never heard before. Watch
Okay.
this.
It's a home and what? I see somebody doing it. You're charging money for, so you turn it into a commercial use. So, and what if you allow that commercial use to include, I don't know, teenagers to come to the house, dropped off, unsupervised, no relation to you, no anything at all, and then alcohol and drugs are involved. You think that creates another layer of problems? Yeah, it does. It sure does. You think that's happening in Alexandria? Yeah, we know it's happening.
Okay, first
If you
of
know
all,
what's happening, then why the fuck are you coming up with a fucking example and not just
a
telling us where
scenario,
it's
and not
happening?
just exactly. Another thing too, make sure when you're talking about this that you're not just trying to point out black people doing that, because
I
white
don't
folks
think he's
do the
pointing
same
out
thing.
black people. I think the only type of people that could have had this type of party is white teenagers.
White teenagers do stuff like that.
'Cause
Exactly.
you know why? Because that's the only time he would actually mention this is if somebody white was involved.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's
Well,
see.
Let's see.
And yet on social media and even covered by quote unquote media,
What is this quote unquote media?
That's your mate.
Is this bitch still mad about KLAB?
He keep bringing KLB up.
He hurt that News Channel 5 won't lie for him. Colin, you keep standing on 10 toes, bro. This cat right here is a character.
you see the fight go the other way. Like, how dare anyone not allow that to occur?
Nobody's saying that, Jock. You're making shit up again. Matter of fact, you know what one of my comments was? One of the ones they erased. It said, no wonder the closed captions aren't showing up. You're not saying shit. I meant that literally. I meant that literally. Look, there's no closed captions. He's not saying anything.
So that's kind of an easy one. Everyone can kind of figure out qualitatively whether they want to allow that in a neighborhood. But first of all, it's not going to be allowed. We're going to stop it every time it occurs, and it's going to get easier to stop it. But if you're advertising for a party at your house, you're putting an advertisement out for teenagers to come to your house and charging them money, and they're getting dropped off there, what does that lead to in the neighborhood? Let's get outside of how wild that is.
Okay, so I'm starting to think some of this story is about colored kids.
That's what I'm talking. I said that from the get-go. At that graduation party, somebody got shot, right? At a graduation party?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what happened. A shooting took place. I forgot where it was at.
Well, I mean, look, here's the deal, right? Those kids have parents, don't it?
Well, he's saying you dropping them off. Quit dropping your
No,
kids
he
off.
said that, that's not what he said. Because there's no way that these parents would be comfortable and cool with an environment like that.
Okay, Tavares, people do drop off their kids.
Okay.
They would.
Yes, from a teenager standpoint, and just dumb. What does it lead to neighborhood relations? You think your neighbor likes that occurs?
Man, fuck my neighbor.
If I don't
think I
live.
give a fuck with that mother. Excuse my language.
No, wait a minute. Wait. If it's not an HOA and it's just a regular neighborhood,
Yeah, man, fuck you niggas.
Please.
Excuse my language.
mind your business. Look how they say that. Mind your
Yeah,
business.
get the fuck out of my business for one.
You're not neighborly.
And
I
then
don't
if
care.
we just analogize it to road rage, how do you think neighbors react with each other after that occurs 5 or 6 times? You think they're on?
Wait a minute. So you catching road rage 5 and 6 and 7 times with your neighbor? The fuck kind of shit you over there? Hey, bro, that cocaine must be.
Wait, Tavares. Now you know we
Allegedly. They alleged
No,
cocaine.
that's not what I'm talking about. You got to remember now where we live at. We had this situation.
Yeah, well, it ain't no road rage, and he stays punk ass on the side of the damn fence, don't he?
He does, but we went through a moment. We went through a moment now. You know we did.
Yeah, we did.
We
On the
went through
verge
some
like a
stuff.
powder keg? What does that ultimately lead to? These aren't 20 offs, guys. These are 1 and 2 offs. It's going to lead to violence and other issues. So what do we have in place? Zoning rules. And zoning stops all of that from occurring.
Zoning doesn't stop you from gerrymandering. Zoning did stop Jack Hinton from opening up his little party palace. Yeah.
That's the whole point. You buy a house.
You worried about zoning, but you wasn't worried about Bethel Apartments? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, and
That's
how they was
wild. That's
mistreating
wild
them
as shit,
people.
Jock Roy, the mayor
No.
of Alexandria.
But you
Tag
got
his
to.
bitch ass in this. Let him know I'm saying this shit about him. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tag the city of Alexandria in this video because I don't like how they disrespected me and pulled down. Look what they did to the comments. They turned the comments off altogether.
That's because you were commenting, Tavares. You were saying too much. You were harassing me.
These people need to get out their feelings. This is a city of Alexandria. It belongs to the people. You can't cut the comments off because you don't like them.
But it's their YouTube channel.
You can't you're a public servant. You can't cut the comments
Yes,
off because
I
you don't like
can.
what
I
people are
created the
saying.
YouTube channel. I can cut off my comments.
That's some crazy shit right there. It's Party Palace. Yes, the Party Palace. Indeed.
You pay your taxes and live there. You get peaceable possession and some degree of tranquility for buying that house. If someone else buys a house next to you, they have the same rules as you. They should be even-handedly applied. If they turn their house into a...
That's why, you know what? That's why he don't want black people owning homes.
Yeah, exactly. That
makes
could
more
be it.
sense. That makes more sense. Because he don't want black people owning more homes. Because he thinks that we're going to be unruly.
Commercial business, does that violate zoning? Generally speaking, yeah. Can you have home businesses? Yes. And you could have home businesses that don't do what? Infringe.
See how he drops his neck? You see how he does that little neck duck thing? I can't stand it when he does that.
Yeah, I see him do it.
Yeah, I just want to I don't want to strike off on him, but I want to light a fire up under him, see if what he really like. Jock, you look like you used to really tear shit up in the 20s when you was in your 20s. Let me punch you and see if you really still got it.
Okay, so now you want to relate to violence. That's all.
I'm not saying violence is the answer.
Okay, so why are you even mentioning it? Why are you?
I'm saying that if violence was a question,
but it's not a question. So why even bring it up?
All right, you cool. All right, that's fine.
Upon your neighbor's peaceable possession and enjoyment of their own home. So it's easy when I do the party one, right? Everybody gets that one. I wouldn't allow that. Although there are some people who say, how dare the city not allow those kids to go do that? Can't help that. I can't understand.
He getting fat.
Understand it for someone who thinks that way. Here's what I would say. That's an easy one for all of you. Now let's make it a little harder. Suppose the business is qualitatively a great business. It only helps people, but it's super loud and there's a car queue all the time during the day and the neighbors on each side hate it because it's loud. Then does it change? Does that?
No, because both of those neighbors can eat a banana.
It does not, to me, what he's saying, to me, he's playing into the mayor's rhetoric. He's playing into the mayor's rhetoric. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Well, we're still working on it. Mr. HR, could you clarify what your statement is so we can put it on the screen?
Because I don't know.
She said, I'm going to ask Jockey Rose Spike's lying ass over for a party, and you know why he does. You know what he does. Yeah, he going to pull out that old nose candy. He's going to watch this. I got a party trick. Allegedly.
So who's Mr. HR?
Change it because it's something we all say we like as opposed to kids being out of control? No, because it's not about the customers who go to that home business. They don't live next door every day. It's not even about whether the thing itself, from a content standpoint, is a good business. It's about whether you're infringing on the right of the person who lives there every day to live there and to enjoy peaceable possession of their home. You know, the home is, for most people, the single equity investment they have and will ever have.
No, wait. You're the one who was talking about apartments for creating more homes for people. The first thing came out your mouth, you were talking about apartments. So you don't think everybody deserves a home.
Oh, he said I was playing into the Bears rhetoric. It's Kevin, his brother Kevin.
Oh, okay.
He says your violent comments are playing into his rhetoric. Sir, there was no violence. I'm only giving away free watermelon and fried chicken, bro. There's no violence over here.
You was about to get it, Mr. Brown. Don't be coming on here with all these different names and stuff.
It's YouTube. I'm in the YouTube world. Everybody got, different name on YouTube. Hell, I'm Super Nintendo 64 10 bands. You'll never find me unless I tell you to. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get more subscribers in the city of Alexandria with they 35 subscriber having ass.
So we don't make content-based qualitative judgments on that. We do time, place, and that's what our laws do. They're designed to say when, how, where you can do certain things. Much like speech itself is time, place, and manner can be regulated, not content. Very similar analysis. So that's what neighborhood zoning does. It promotes health and safety and well-being. It promotes good neighborly relations. Do you have to like your neighbor? Of course not. But you can't create something at your house that makes their house worthless. And do these things, if every...
You can't do something at your house that makes their house worthless?
You know what he's talking about? He's talking about depreciation of people's property depending on where it's at. And another thing too, came to my mind was Lizzie Felter with that gerrymandering. She did not want to be she didn't want to be connected to District 3 and by any means necessary. By the way, my book is coming out called He Wants to Be King by Any Means Necessary, The Chaos and Disruption of the American Dream. It is going to be out as of June 16. I just thought I would plug it, but you can pre-order on Kindle. Okay, it's Kindle too.
Can you write the title and put it into the YouTube
Let's
video
see.
so I can put it on the screen? Because that was a long ass title.
I don't care. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's see
Type
if I
it
can.
into the YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel.
I got it. I got it. I got it. Be quiet. I got it.
There was her property on top of a can, on top of spaghetti, all covered in cheese. But doesn't she live in Pineville? Now, that is highly debatable because I believe she lives in Pineville, but I also believe she doesn't. She said, "Oh, Mr. Mayor said I had to try to find you. You found us? No worries."
Because she's so used to you being on Facebook.
Because I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to leave Facebook. I'm trying to lead y'all over here to YouTube, where I got a lot more flexibility with the content. Right, I can get away with a lot more over here. And because I'm reviewing YouTube content, I thought that it'd be only fitting that I review it on YouTube, where I found it at. But here's the good news, folks. I'm about to wrap the show up in just a few. I'm gonna have Miss McCall. We got 8 minutes that I'm gonna get to, but I'm gonna have Miss McCall put the long ass title.
It's already. I'm working on it now.
Yeah, damn. You still typing?
Yeah.
Neighborhood were allowed to run any business they wanted at any decibel of noise they wanted. You think that would have an effect on house values? Of course it would. You think if you allow someone to put in their front yard anything they want, any size vehicle, any rutting up the yard, anything like, you think that affects people's values? And this single investment, that's the most important investment they have. So the standard you...
Well, somehow you don't want black people doing that.
No, it could be anybody. No, they don't necessarily.
No, because he's not for the home ownership for black people. He's not. He doesn't support that, apparently, because if he did, he'd already be enacted. After all, you've been in office for 16 years.
Yeah.
18 years now.
Yeah.
So it should be more black homeowners because the majority of the people are black, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's still, you know what I'm saying, we still the ones written, right? Yeah, go figure.
Apply to these things is to be even-handed to all. And when you do that, you've got to make sure that you're focused on what the point is. Recently, there was a business that I think people would probably all say they liked. The customers to that business would say that. And the person who...
Wow, who the fuck else would say that they like the business but the customers? What kind of shit is he saying? That's why ain't no closed captions. You're not saying shit. She said, well, how is the city going to find you? The city's going to find me because I'm on their I'm in their turf now. He says, "Yeah, you don't want to purchase homes. We don't.
Yeah.
We
He don't.
don't.
No, he don't
The
want
city
to.
stockholders. He said the stockholders are going to come after me now.
He,
There's the name of that
yeah.
long ass book. I'm going to run that again at the end of the show so people can pre-order her book. Are you using a pen name or a surname?
No, it's my name. I think it's CB
All
McCall.
right, so the name that you guys can look for is Root Beer Soda. Is the name. That's the author of He Wants to Be King. He wants to be called king by any means necessary. The chaos and the disruption of the American dream. All right. I know it's a good book. I just can't read.
Who runs the business would say that, but the neighbors might not say that.
Man, fuck them that. Excuse my language.
And so for the customers of the business who don't live there every day to have more say in what the homeowners next to the business say is wrong.
Why don't they mind their motherfucking business?
Wait a minute. Who does that?
Let me thumbs down this bullshit. Yeah, that's right. In real time, I'm thumbs down to this bullshit.
But what I'm trying to say is what does that? I'm trying to figure out something. You know why he did that, Tavares? Because he don't want no negative when other people go and look at the meeting. They don't want other people to see
I don't
the
care
negative
about
comment.
none of that. Boy, you better play the game honest. If you got people that's complaining about the city, you need everybody to see everything. You talking about transparency, well, except for when it's all good with transparency until there's something negative that you don't want nobody to see.
Yeah, exactly. It's always like that.
That's weird.
It's always like that.
It's absolutely wrong. And for people to suggest that doesn't the city have better things to do? First of all, I know for a fact that the city was working with this particular business, trying to, help make things work. But the idea that it's the city's responsibility to fix what is already a code violation is, again, it's a wrong-headed thing. And for all the council persons that called about it, shame on you too, because you know what exactly.
Jock. Bro, who are you to bring shame upon anybody for the job that they do? Aren't you the same guy that told everybody that, no, it's a loan. It's a grant. It's a loan. It's a grant. It's a loan. It's a grant. And aren't you the architect of that plan? How are you the architect of that plan and you planned it a year and a half in advance, but you still couldn't figure out whether it was a loan or a grant when you implement it? That seem a little weird to you? Doesn't it seem like, you planned this out the way it was supposed to go, and now things aren't going according to plan? See, Mr. Mara Battle says this was a weird briefing. It was. It's too biased. I understand. Jock, shut up. All right. Is this the mayor's briefing? Yes, this is the mayor's briefing from the day. He also said run the water longer to get rid of the brown water. That's incorrect. He said run the cold water longer until the sediment is out. And that's how you get rid of the brown. Oh, then you run the hot water until the brown comes out of that. That's how you get rid of the sediment in the water. But he also told y'all, does this have a point? I don't think so. Let's see.
Exactly that leads to the exceptional use that you throw on the mayor's office to try to figure out. It's not our law we're enforcing. It's yours. You're the city council. You have the zoning authority, not the mayor. But if the mayor or his staff in this case made an exception for some businesses and not others, what would that lead to?
You already do, don't you? Hold on. I'm getting a message from the hotline. Let's see here. All right, folks, we got a special announcement. Oh, no, we don't. Never mind. This isn't even an announcement. This is just information. Okay, hold on, folks, hold on. Okay, so the city is offering you young black folks some line dancing classes. Anybody interested in that? Oh, wait a minute, hold on. He seems to be rambling. She said it's nothing but lies. Thank you for clarifying. I didn't really clarify. I just said some stuff like he said. At this point, it's the city of M. At this point, the city of Alexandria should provide every citizen with a pure water filter. Exactly. Line dancing every Tuesday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. You know, we got to turn up one time because line dancing is easy. You know what I mean? It's, you know, at least we're getting down here, getting ahead of the problem. You know, we're trying to do some things for the community, get the colored people up and moving since they're so sedentary.
Who would get in trouble for that? It's not just me, it could be staff. It's just the idea that should the mayor's office be in the business of picking and choosing the winners and losers of home businesses? No.
You can't. You can't keep people from opening a business. No.
So what do? You apply the codes even-handed, and you don't have that problem. But I just wanted to point out that even something that looks good on its face only looks good in the eye of the beholder. So if you're the customer, it looks good because you do your thing and leave that home business and you go to your house where there's, guess what? Not next to you. A home business that is a nuisance.
Why? What is this guess what shit? Are we fucking for? Oh, put you up on stage? Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay. I just wanted to say something. So, my thing is he should actually say what he's talking about. I don't like this,
This scenario shit.
Yeah, just say what you need to say. You talk about transparency, be transparent.
Well, let's just say there's a cracker factory next door to a cheese factory, right? And one of the trucks that deliver crackers crashes into one of the trucks that deliver cheese. Do we get upset about that, or do we just make it the best of what we got?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first off, cheese and crackers go together. But here's the thing, Paula. The thing is, once you get the cheese and the crackers, you've got to get the wine. Right? So now you've got wine, cheese, crackers all in one place. And who's going to benefit from that? Who's going to benefit from that? I'll give you a guess. Donna? That's right. The rats.
So let me ask you something. So when you sell drugs out your house, is that a commercial business?
Well, look here. See, the thing is, you don't have to sell the drugs out of your house. You can bring the drugs in and let the drugs out of your house for a small price. Now, that is not commerce.
So
that's called a front. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? You got fronted before.
Okay, so what he's basically saying, because I know something like this happened to somebody where they were making cakes out their home, right? And somebody told on them that they were making cakes out their homes. But the issue is there's a thing called the cottage law. Every state, majority of the states have what you call a cottage law, where you can make cakes, preserves, candies out your house. Now, the thing with cakes is you cannot have frosting on them. You have to give them, you have to give them plain. You cannot put frosting on them. Once you put them on frosting on them, then that triggers that you need to have your own kitchen. You need a separate kitchen from your own kitchen. You can do it with cookies, you can do it with anything, but if you put any type of frosting on it, then that's a signal.
So the cottage rule is for jarred items.
Yes, jarred, yes, exactly.
And
Cookies,
uniced
cakes,
cookies. And
pies,
un-
anything that you can put frosting on them, donuts, whole 9 yards, but you can't do it at that place. So when you start putting frosting on stuff at your home, then that turns it into a commercial, which means in other words, they're saying that you have to do all that type of work in a commercial kitchen. So the kitchen has to be separate from your own kitchen. Because like right now with the cottage law, you can do all that in your kitchen as long as you do not put any type of frosting on that cake. Once you put frosting on that cake and sell that cake, you're violating the Louisiana cottage law for that. You can't do that.
Is this what he's referring to?
I don't know what he's referring to, because you don't make noise when you're selling cakes and pies. I don't.
Well, I don't know what kind of cakes and pies
Yeah, we don't know what kind of cakes and pies you're talking about.
Pies.
Yeah. So even when you can't,
That's loud or bothers you.
Hold on. Let me see. We only got
okay, I'm sorry.
All right, hold on.
This is the mundane stuff we deal with every day, right? The councilman, you hear about it when someone's mad. But these aren't difficult ones. The idea that a home business can affect the other homeowners. This was so bad in one case, again, for something very nice and needed and a beautiful thing, but then the organizers on Facebook thought it would be smart to go protest the complaining household with noise. They don't live there, but their solution was to go disrupt that house even more. Wow.
Okay, where is he talking about?
If anybody in the chat knows what the fuck excuse my language, mom, plug your ears. Anybody knows what the fuck he's talking about, let me know. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't think anybody does. But I'm pretty sure this happened. I don't think it happened the way he said that it happened. But if anybody knows what the hell he's getting at, let me know.
Because, I'm curious myself.
That's how we are handling our community relations as a society. That's pathetic. So, the easy one was the swimming pool party with the teenagers. It gets a little harder as you go down the line. So what the council does is it makes good rules, and it has home business exceptions, where if you meet certain things, you can have one. And you can click on our website and see it, or you can go to Grow with Alexandria, and there's a whole page dedicated to it. Where you won't get the answer to most of these problems is on Facebook from the people who know everything. You will get the answer to it if you just go click on the city's website.
You're upset. You're upset.
He's mad. He's mad.
He's upset.
He's mad.
Watch my language. I'll be trying to watch my language, but I don't got no closed captions either. Greg is hilarious. He is hilarious. She said, I'm so lost. We are all lost, my dear. We are all lost. Mr. Lita, I sent you the flyers for the summer camps on the Messenger. Okay. Cool.
Okay, thanks.
He's talking about you all. He's not talking about us. You know where the answer is not going to be? Universal Collective Network.
Because we don't know what
going to be on any
about.
place called Send All Complaints. It's not going to be on the
podcast.
podcast.
We don't know what he's talking about. We first got to know what he's talking about.
Hey, this is...
We're clueless.
Look, where everybody's got all the goddamn answers. You're not going to find it there. Wouldn't you find it there? Because they have the answers, wouldn't it? I mean, frosting on cake is allowed, but a permit is required if you're operating your home kitchen. Okay. Yeah,
exactly. Wait. You said frosting cakes on. No, that's not what you would know. You would know. I'm sorry, Mr. Gregory.
Oh, yeah, of course he would know.
You would know. I apologize. I didn't want to. I guess I might have misread that law, but I thought you couldn't have frosting on the cakes. You can give them frosting.
He said it is allowed, but you have to have a permit inside your home.
Yeah. Okay.
For your kitchen.
Yeah, in your kitchen. Yeah, you have to
make.
They said
I won't have the answers. I'm offended by that shit, Jock. You son of a bitch.
And query it or ask Alex Connects. You're going to get an answer to it. And you're certainly from my staff going to get any assistance we can on a home business that doesn't disturb your neighbors, doesn't create a traffic problem, but is generally consistent with neighborhood use. Why? Because it's a different world. We know everybody can't afford bricks and mortar, and frankly, our society's moving more toward this is
You
going to
know
be
what, Doc? It's interesting you should say that because you keep closing down all of the incubators as they open.
Yep. Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about why the incubator is not working. And it has
Let's talk about why you can't have a business running out of your home because you can't have one running out of the incubator. Can you?
Yeah, you can. You can rent offices. You were
Ma'am, there is no incubator to rent out of.
I know, but you were supposed to be able to do that. He had a state-of-the-art kitchen in there at one time. He let all that go to waste. All that went to waste. And they spent some serious money because the guy who put the kitchen together for the incubator, we interviewed him on one of our shows when we were on KYT, and he brought us some food. So yeah, they used to have a nice state-of-the-art kitchen, and you were able to do all your baked goods there. They also had offices where you could run businesses out of because Dr. Bo's nephew had a business in one of those offices. There was a lot of stuff that was being done.
You can't tell the story about the incubator until you tell the story about what happened to the incubator.
Gotcha. Okay.
What happened to the incubator?
It's gone.
All right. So the incubator was originally over there by the old Sutherland Global.
It was Jake's building. We don't know about no Sutherland Global.
So they had it open, right? And they had all this extravagant upgrades done to it, but they didn't want nobody in it for some reason. And then they kept on what they're doing is the same thing they're doing with the Weiss and Gold Ring building. They're taking these buildings and upgrading them and selling them for pennies on the dollar. They're using your tax dollars to upgrade them and then selling them for pennies on the dollar to their friends. And that's exactly what they're going to do with the Weiss and Gold Ring building. And if they could do it with City Hall, they would have did it already. But that's exactly what they did with the Holiday Inn Express at the foot of the Jackson Street Bridge.
But the incubator, because I went to the incubator, I went to some of the classes there. Ugly Mug Marketing was the very last company I knew that was in that building that
Ugly Mug actually moved downtown.
Yeah, they finally moved downtown.
They found plenty that for some reason they got plenty of help.
Yeah, they did.
That was a little weird. They got plenty of help.
And there was another company in there. I can't remember what they did, but it was another company in the incubator. They stayed in there for a while and they finally left. These were two white-owned companies.
Yeah.
Dr. Bo's nephew was in there for a little bit and he wound up moving out, period. They were doing a lot of stuff that didn't sound like, how they add stuff on, because you didn't stay in that building for free. You had to rent the office space. But you were supposed to be able to use the kitchen. Like if you were a caterer and you needed to use the kitchen, you were supposed to, to go through the application, whatever needs to be done to use that commercialized kitchen to bake your goods or whatever you had to do. And all of that, it just went to nothing. He was trying to see, that's what he's not talking about either. You're right. The incubator, Jock Roy was in office when the incubator was hot. And Jock Roy did not want that incubator.
Because it was creating too many other black businesses.
It was and remember when the Black Chamber of Commerce was trying to get in there, how
he said he'd rather see it burn than have them in there.
Yeah, to have them in there almost. In other words, that's what
pretty much what he said.
He gave them the biggest runaround trying to get into that building. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what Jock did. So
I just wanted to the people that are listening that are new. Look, I'm trying to get to my favorite part.
Everywhere at all times. So we need to have the best rules about that.
And yes, he does apparently have an agenda. We just don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, we haven't gotten it yet.
Right. Back to the serious stuff. The incident on Lee Street is a perfect example of the rules not being followed, where I'm going to just put this in air quotes, and I'll say it out loud so the record gets it, where a business or a commercial activity didn't follow the rules and led to a terrible set of consequences, including a shooting.
It's a pew-pewing, Jock. This is being simulcast on TikTok. You violate the TikTok guidelines
don't
one
care
more
about
time,
that.
bro, and I'm kicking you off my chat.
He don't care about that. He don't know that.
Oh,
This is gonna be hypothetical, and to the extent it covers things
here we go with the more hypotheticals.
that did happen in this case, I'm making it up as I go. It's hypothetical. It is
I'm making it up as I go. It's hypothetical.
So it was on the 200 block of Lee Street.
No. I'm making it up. It's hypothetical.
absolutely driven by knowing the facts of the case. So they're inextricably intertwined in this case. But if you go get your utilities turned back on that have been off, say it's for one purpose, open a business, do not have an occupational license or anything to sell alcohol or do anything to do with alcohol, lease or under the table lease or do anything by placing that business then in the position to allow people to have an alcohol party, whether they bring it in, whether they buy it in there, but you're charging at that door for them to come to have the party. That's a violation of a whole bunch of things. I'm not going to count them out now, but there's a whole bunch that went wrong there. And if that business is in violation of any fire codes or other things, you got another host of problems. And if that situation leads to a death, that's terrible.
Unaliving, Jock. You know what, Jock? You're pushing it. You got one more rule to break, and I'm kicking you off this channel.
And there's liability consequences for that. So let's go back and mix our house and the residential that had the party. What do you all think that most homeowners' policies would do if you have minors drinking at a party? What would your homeowner's policy say about whether an injury on your property would be paid or not? There'd be an exclusion for that, right? Likely. I won't say in 100% of cases, but probably close.
Woo, that guy.
So
what is that building used for now? Absolutely nothing. It's just sitting up now.
I got a question. When Hall was in office, everyone asked what was his plans was after the shooting. In this case, who's holding Roy accountable? Exactly. So let me ask you something.
We're the only ones. We're the only ones pointing out the fact that Jock Roy is a piece of shit mayor. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got a question. Do anybody know what happened on Lee Street? I know it was on 200. I think it was 200 block of Lee Street. Anybody know about this shooting? So somebody tell me.
Look.
No, I'm interested. Hold up.
What we'll do is, if you guys can inbox me any information about that.
No, I don't want it inboxed. I want to know. Don't inbox. I want to see it on here. I don't have
time to go down that rabbit hole, ma'am. If you want to, do that, then you can crank up your own show. But this show is only supposed to be 2.5 hours long, and we're already at 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
That's not my problem.
Okay, then. Well, you're gonna have to fire up your show because this show's about to go off.
That's not my problem.
Okay, well, look, man, I'm going to get to this next section where he says that the people aren't afraid of the law anymore.
Okay.
And we're going to get out of here.
And I'm not saying there was alcohol with minors. I don't know that.
What are you saying?
I don't know, but there was no one checking IDs at a door or doing anything.
What are you saying?
Anything else to determine it, right? That's the problem with having that at your house. But if anybody were to
What's
be
the problem? You just literally said that's not the problem, but that is the problem. So what's the problem? He's done this so much, he's confused himself.
In that case, that's going to be a problem. You're not covered by the anti-dram shop law of Louisiana in that case. You don't get host liability protection there because you are operating a business at your house. And if there's a minor involved, it doesn't cover you anyway, but your policy will exclude. So now people are being told, bring your kids here to give them something to do under this false notion, and you're exposing that family to an injury. I wonder if there's,
You know what this is? He wants to be the only game in town that's doing anything for your kids. Yeah,
No,
yeah. He
I
wants to be
think
the
he,
only game in town. He wants you. He don't want no extra parties going on unless it's city mandated.
yeah, basically, he wants to be the one. Yeah.
Because see, there's so many things that can go wrong when you let people do things with you that with your kids that aren't, when you aren't around. See, in our programs, you can drop them off, for an hour and a half. But with those programs, you don't know what you're getting into. And additionally, if you send them over there, we will call the police. Yeah, we're gonna get that shit shut down. You'll come to one of our events one way or the other, huh? You know what I mean?
an increased likelihood of injuries with a bunch of kids horse playing at a party in the middle of the night. You think? So
Or they drinking or horse playing?
With
What
guns?
the fuck is this and that? What is this?
With
when that
guns?
injury occurs, that family's left naked in that situation. And they've been scammed in that situation. And that's unacceptable. So,
You're right. Mama, plug your ears. Miss Tanya, plug your ears. You are motherfucking right. You've been scammed, and he knows it. He absolutely knows that you've been scammed, and he doesn't like it. So guess what, folks?
very, very simple. Zoning rules prohibit that. So they have to be followed whether you like the event or you don't like the event, because it's not designed to make a qualitative judgment call. It's designed to stop behavior that leads to risky behavior, that leads to catastrophic consequences.
Oh, so you're trying to stop a behavior that leads to a behavior that leads to a catastrophe. Hold on, let me see what everybody's saying.
Oh, okay. The problem is Johnny has 6. And he didn't share the apples. Watch your language in the presence of your
No, I
mom.
tell her to plug her ears. She plugs her ears. I ask her to plug her ears. Who challenged the zoning law? Whoever's throwing these parties that are just too good to be talked about is the guy that broke the rules. Let's just say, for instance, we had some people, right? And there's a spaceship, right? And the spaceship and these people are not in the same place, but they're in the same space, but not in the same time.
Exactly.
You see? So, and Jeff, you can attest to this. When we put those people and we take them out of those places and we put them in the spaces in between time and the derivative of the CERN, what you get here is something very plausible, people. That's it. That's all. It's very simple. And we're going to move that so we can put that on the agenda, because the city council, they have jurisdiction over time and space. That's your guys' job. My job is to dictate what happens. You see?
Good
He
grief,
reminds me of my law professor at Southern, who wanted me to think really hard. So I need to find out who goes to the party. If you can find out. So you're saying the time-space continuum is out of orbit? No. See, it's people like you and Colin Verdros, News Channel 5 respectively. You guys get out there in front of the stories and you guys try to make fun of what I'm saying. And you make us look really bad to everybody else in the area. So I need your help, Mr. HR. I need your help to partner with you so you can make me not look like what I am.
Oh my God, this guy is relentless.
I'm starting to be somebody that I didn't want to turn into. And I need you guys to keep me from turning into that guy. Because all it's going to take is a power coin and me saying it's morphin' time. And I'm going to turn to somebody else. That's going to be it. You're not going to get Mr. Nice Jock Roy anymore. You're going to get Jock Royazord. You know what I mean?
Oh, these people were wrong. So, okay, so it didn't have a business occupation license.
In the situation on Lee Street, you can take what happens in a residential, and that's bad enough. And now you've got adults coming in, no rules, no regulation, no situation where people have even had the business. You don't know if it's insured. You don't know anything. It's basically just an open party being charged at the door by a facility that's not supposed to operate as it's operating. I'll leave it at that.
Ooh.
So you're going to go after them, but you're not going to go after these cameras.
And if you had a camera out there,
Same issue now with coverages on insurance, same issues with all of the other problems, except that thing's going to go from 2, 3, 4 in the morning, drinking all night. What you think's going to happen then?
Well, what the fuck happens, Jock? You be up at 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning drinking? You asking so? Wait, hold on. She said no. He is saying that it was possible that the eggs crossed the road before the chicken because the chicken should have asked the city's permission to cross the street. You see? So if he has all this information, why not address it? That's exactly what I was saying in the comment section on YouTube, but they erased it. I wanted specifics, but he couldn't give us the specifics, and he can't give us specifics because this is all hyperbole. This is all fucking just made up shit that he's making. He's literally making up shit. Hopefully he'll get closed captioned because of my show.
But
there's a history at this.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What's up?
No, go ahead.
Location. So we're not in the excuse game.
I don't know what he's doing with his
Should
temper,
we
but I don't like that shit. Look, I'm gonna stop the tape right here. Listen, guys, one of the last things I want to share with you is back in about 2020, it's conjecture, exactly. So right around 2012, 2011, I want to say, it was campaign season and Jock was running again. This is back when I was partying, right? So I'm at Good Times, R.I.P. Practicat. I'm in between the red lights, slowed down, and I'm not even on them nickel drinks because I don't drink and drive, right? Somehow I look up, there's a line. I'm at the pool hall across the street. I look across the street and the line going into Good Times, long as shit, right? But guess who comes trolloping down fucking Lee Street in a house robe, shaking hands and kissing babies and shit?
At that time of night?
At 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. Jock Roy. So I made that comment inside this video and they deleted it. Of course, they deleted it.
You don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
No, Tamara, what he's saying is the wood that the woodchuck chucks, it wasn't right because the city council couldn't chuck wood.
No, Mr. HR, it wasn't Deborah Randolph. It was Jock Roy. I saw Jock Roy in a house robe and his house slippers walking down Lee Street, waving to people at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning in front of Good Times during election season. Eddie won, of course. I guess that's what it was.
But they said they used to, to say him all the time.
Yeah, everybody used to see him all the time. Matter of fact, I heard the VFW on Thursday used to see him all the time.
Yep.
And he don't even respect y'all enough to dress up. He said, I come out this bitch in my house robe. I come out this bitch in pajamas. It ain't a pajama party yet, but I can turn it into one.
As the city inquire in those situations, you bet. If we go by a bar and you see a licensed bar, it's there and things are happening 3 or 4, the parking lot's full, it looks like underage kids are there. We've had this issue on Jackson Street, as y'all recall. We put a stop to it. But anywhere you see that where there's a suspicion, what should we do? Should we follow up on that? Sure. We should knock on that door and figure it out.
Is that
But if something's the business and we don't know, we're not going to be able to prevent all of those catastrophes from happening. So what should we do as a city? Well, Jim, Chuck, Lizzie, others, we need to pass.
Oh, hell no. Hell no, boy. He sat up there and named all the white council people and called the rest of them others. Goddamn.
All the ones that was in the room.
She said, "Trust me, that robe belonged to one of your beautiful black queens." I don't think so. It could have been though, but he had the woodchuck chuck the wood. The first place he would have had to chuck the wood is what he's saying. What I'm saying is, how much could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And did the woodchuck chuck the wood that the wood was chucking? Because the chuck wood was chucking wood. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These things are true. These things are true. And two things can be true at the same time. A woodchuck can both chuck wood and wood the chuck. All you got to do is think outside the box. Use your fucking head, man.
Legislation that makes sure that if you are selling alcohol and you are doing it at certain times, that parking lot rules and other things have new things in place. Look, it wasn't always this way, but that's where we are today. Today, where we are is when folks pour out in the parking lot in the early morning hours, it's not for good stuff usually. I don't.
Is that racist?
No, because they do the same thing.
I mean, is this right? Are we talking about racist shit right here? Oh, wait a minute. You know about the Chuck Fowler. I think the woodchuck took the chuck of the wood and Chuck Fowler already chucked.
Okay, so this incident happened real quick. Alexandria Police Department reported the two people were injured at a nightclub in the 2000 block of Lee Street on Saturday, May 31st. Authorities said they responded to the scene at around 3:50 a.m. after receiving reports of a shooting. Two victims were reportedly taken to a local hospital for treatment. One victim was in critical condition. An investigation is ongoing.
So, you know, he's reporting on this incident about this shooting or this pew-pewing. And we don't know shit about what happened to that John Doe that they tried to hide and seek that they shot in the chest over there down Third. That was way back in March that the APD shot and damn near murdered that man and threw him in the hospital as a John Doe. And we still haven't heard nothing about it.
I got to call the mother. I hadn't talked to her in a while.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I want to get to my favorite part. That's why I'm trying to get out of here.
I don't want to sound like a grandfather's grandfather on this. I get people want to have a good time and all, but
wait, a grandfather's grandfather, that would be somebody's great 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 grandfather. The fuck is he talking about?
statistically, the risk is now too great on those kinds of situations. And I'm just going to tell you, there's an absolute statistical relationship if those businesses aren't being run correctly, that you're going to see a consequence. So there's some thoughtful things that we want to bring up to you about changing it. We are studying where we are on Sunday closing rules and all that. There has been in the code now, I think it's 3 o'clock, 3 a.m.
I want to make it midnight for you monkeys. If I can make closing time midnight for you monkeys,
we would definitely have it at midnight.
She's Mr. HR said that was an unfortunate incident. Mr. Mary Battle said y'all are killing me. LMAO. Mr. HR says, does the public information officer ever address issues publicly? I see what you did there. No, they don't.
You know, 3 a.m.'s late.
How would you know, Jock? Don't you be out at 3 a.m.?
You're all in my business.
Yeah, don't you? Hey, Jock, how long did it take you to get back from Lafayette, man?
You're in my business.
Hold on, Jock. How long it took you to get back from Houston?
You're in my business.
Oh, Jock, now come on, man. You can tell us what time you be getting in, what time of the morning you be getting in from them parties.
You're in my business, boy.
Okay.
if you got folks poured out in parking lots and are still sort of, the party carries out of the door at 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. in a parking lot, you're kind of building that recipe for a disastrous event. And so we have to, as a society, decide as a community, is this what we want? It shouldn't set up the bar owners fighting with the council. Because as soon as I say this, then it gets covered, however it gets covered, and that becomes.
You still worried about goddamn KLAB. Boy, them people really hurt your soul.
Yeah, because he probably got a lot of complaints from other people, outside people.
Somebody said, where's APD? She
Yeah.
said, how would you know if the party extends to the parking lot after 3 a.m.? Unless you was there. Unless you was there.
He was told
They're
that.
trying to shut my
Uh-huh.
business down. They are trying, no one's trying to shut any business down. In fact, there are some model bars that have security and those things. That's what I'm talking about. If you're going to operate at certain times and hours and in certain ways, you're going to have to secure your environment. But what you can't.
Hey, Jock, where you be at 3 a.m?
He said he'd be laying next to him.
You don't be laying next to that woman.
The bars. You weren't supposed to hear that.
That ain't where that nigga be at every 3 o'clock in the morning. He not there every 3 o'clock in the morning. I remember one time he was coming back from Pineville from Michael Marcotte. Oh, never mind.
You better stop. You better stop.
Well,
Allegedly.
I'm saying though, allegedly, the Pineville Police Department let him go. I don't know if they took him home because he couldn't drive, but allegedly. I don't know. Hey, look, y'all asking me questions like I know what the hell's going on.
So the owner of the building is up.
I don't know
Up
what's
and
going on. I have no idea what's happening.
I bet you it
Do
is.
is secure your environment like this.
Say it again.
I was saying, I bet you he is, because if he didn't have an occupation. Now, I will say this. I to a certain extent, it hurts my heart. But if you operating a business, especially when you've taken money and stuff, you should have an occupational license at least.
And this is not in agreement with Jock Roy at all. If you're operating a business at all, it does need to have its paperwork together.
Yeah, you need to have his paperwork together. That building need to be insured, especially when you have other people that's coming in and out of there. That
we're
wasn't
going to
a
get
home.
to the bottom of this, okay? We're going to make it to the bottom of this because the thing is, if we all are going to go out and create a business, right? And we don't want to put the paperwork behind the business, we can't be surprised when the business doesn't have any paperwork. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Donna, are you listening? Donna, wake up. Okay. See, the thing is, you can fool me once, but you can't fool me twice.
This Lee Street situation, you're going to have real security. When all the facts come out in that case, it's going to be an anatomy of a bad thing for the public.
When all the truth comes out about the Restore program, about the data breach, it's going to be an anatomy of some bullshit that the public did not expect was going to happen. When the truth comes out about the brown water, it's going to be an anatomy of placebos and bullshit that they're going to have to deal with. Oh, they're talking about is the building by Eminem. I don't think.
Yes.
So. Okay.
Yes. I looked it up. I pulled it up on the map, and it is. It's that that little club that used to be there before.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it was closed for a long time because, if I'm not mistaken, a shooting happened there before.
Yeah,
so that's not the first one.
It's like I think it's whatever club it is. I don't think they. Like I said, the last thing Alexandria needs is a nightclub.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was some teenagers that happened the last time that happened.
Well, what about the kids? What is it for the kids to do? It's for the kids to keep their ass in the house.
Yeah, that's what it is, for kids to stay there behind in the house, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Take their ass to bed where shit is safe at. The only thing that can get you in your sleep is Freddy Krueger.
wait to see. I know what they are so far, and it is bothersome, to say the least. And it's preventable. Yeah.
People that run into this situation, they're a whole lot.
I'm gonna cut the beat off right here.
That's Ballard. That was Ballard talking. You can tell. Leave Ballard alone.
That sound like caveman talk. Hey, look, y'all. I got to do the cliffhanger thing again. I apologize. But we got to find out here, man. We got to get out of here. We got to save something for tomorrow.
It was a good show.
It was a good show because he owns the
store too. I think. Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow we're going to do more free watermelon and fried chicken. Maybe we'll throw in a side of gizzards. Yeah, we'll throw in a side of gizzards, and we'll have free fried chicken. Now, I'm not going to give. It's going to be either watermelon or gizzards. So you're either going to be choosing to eat a fruit, or you can have fried chicken and gizzards on the side. We got to manage this food. Make sure that we stretch it. All right. Send all complaints to 625 Murray Street. I've pretty much conflated both of the addresses. Do we have vegan options? That's a good question. Are there any vegan options to feed colored people? Miss McCall?
Yes, I'm coming. What'd you say, sir?
We got to feed these coloreds. Are there any vegan options? We're getting people asking for vegan options.
Vegan options.
I'll tell you what, we can give you some watermelon and some cornbread.
You can,
I don't have no jackfruit. I don't have no jackfruit. I give you a piece of watermelon and you can get 2 pieces of cornbread. That's the vegan option. He said, "Go to bed."
You guys are
going
great.
to bed. I've got to get the cooking on this fried chicken for you niggas tomorrow. Watermelons are from Sugartown.
Look! You better not be selling that chicken.
I'm not selling anything. I'm giving it away. It's election season.
Okay, because Jock gonna be upset with you if you be selling it.
Jock, you already know what Jock can do.
He's gonna be really upset with you.
All right. Well, folks, for those of you that stuck around for the whole show, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Tomorrow's show will be part 2 of the fried watermelon and chicken, the fried chicken and watermelon special.
Oh boy.
We got through 33 minutes of the hour show, so we'll be able to wrap it up tomorrow.
That was good.
Yeah, it was good. That was good. I always be worried about getting it kicked off, like starting it off. But, how many years we've been doing this?
It's going on 10 years. Soon.
Yeah, once you get started, it's kind of like, here we go.
When you
he
guys,
said you better eat through the video tomorrow.
Okay, you guys, Thursday, I'm going to come back, and I know I messed up on the show with the echoing, but I'm going to bring that show back on Thursday, and I'm going to start from scratch. My son told me I buy too much different equipment and don't know how to use it.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to that.
So I literally keep everything plugged up since you made me do that.
Yeah, you got to keep stuff plugged up. That's the name of the book written by my mom. He wants to be a carrot. What he wants to be called king by any means necessary. The chaos and disruption of the American dream. She is a card-carrying member of the Writers Guild of the Lollipop Guild. I better get through the video tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna make sure. I'll make
Sounds
sure you
good,
make it through the
Mr.
whole video tomorrow. So I want to thank my mom for showing up. Appreciate you, Mom. Get off my stage. Appreciate you. This is my show. Yes. Send all complaints to 915 3rd Street or 625 Murray Street are both my shows. They're intellectual properties of 10 bands and super band Tendoes, respectfully. Don't play on my top, and you won't find all right? Yeah, all right, I'm out of here.